Hey everybody, James here. It is Monday of the last Monday of the campaign. We are headed into the home stretch, the final 5 days. Got a good rest up over the weekend. Parker had a little basketball tournament yesterday that he did well in. Uh, we hung around on Saturday and watched Alabama beat Mississippi State. Got a nice bounce back win in the football. Shu came over and hung out, watched the game with us, and we played a little Marvel Dice Throne during halftime. I lost, of course. Of course, I lost. I can't. I always try to go for stuff I shouldn't go for, right? I like to risk it for the biscuit, as they say. It was Doctor Strange, and it was the first time I played Doctor Strange. I really like his spell book. That is a really really cool mechanic they built into that particular hero. Anyway, if you don't have Marvel Dice Throne, that's more of Manny Trembley's work. You should definitely have that in your collection if you like two-player games at all. It's even if you don't like heads-up stuff, it's still pretty neat for heads-up stuff. Okay, let's talk about our campaign. Our campaign today we've got it's pretty short, pretty straightforward. But I do want to talk about a new addition to the campaign. So listen, we've looked at a lot of different ways to do dual player boards, overlays, all that kind of stuff. I do think there are some solutions out there, okay? I do think that exists. But I think the problem is it's going to take a good bit of engineering and a good bit of development work to get what I'm going to be happy giving you, right? And the real one of the big purposes of this particular campaign was for it to be lightning fast, back into production, and getting people copies of the game who haven't been able to get it. So, the overlay system is just going to slow everything down by a lot, and I don't think it needs to be. I don't think it needs to be tackled right now. Just being perfectly honest. I think we need to get everybody the stuff from this campaign. But here's my promise to you. I hear you. I do think I have a solution in mind that will work quite well, that will make everyone happy. But it comes with some development, some engineering, and I think it will go well in the next campaign. As I've already promised you guys, we are going to be working on multiple new factions that we haven't set an amount yet. We don't know what that'll be. I don't know if it'll be 2 more factions or 10 more factions. I don't know. But we're definitely going to do another expansion. And I know people are like, "What? When?" If I had to guess, I would say it's probably at least a year away, maybe a year and change. Would be my guess. So, maybe first quarter of 2024, I think. And I think that's about the right timing as well. Not only for, you guys to like fully experience the game through your play groups, but then also for us to have the right amount of development time and also as a product, because we're going to have a bigger issue to tackle with a big expansion. None of that stuff's going to fit in your current deluxe box. I already know what you're going to be yelling at me. James, we want an all-in-one big box solution. So, there's a lot of stuff for us to figure out, and that doesn't happen quickly. And then also, I still have a few other projects I'm working on, Bloodstone and Tidal Blades 2 and things like that. So, I think just sit tight. In the meantime, it was clear from many comments that the main issue that people had bumping wise was the leader strength. Several people said if we, I think even somebody else said I just use generic dice in place of the wooden token, and if it gets bumped, it just slides. It doesn't hurt anything. So I think that made the most sense for a nice temporary solution to the problem. These are our unique custom dice that will be the leader strength. That if you'll notice there in the corners, each of the factions has a little icon. Alice has got her sword and the poison for the Jabberwocky and the hat and the heart and the twisty curly madness from the cat. And so these are really cool. And, I got them, we made them as cool as we could, but also made them as affordable as we could. And I think, again, not really committing to anything on October 24th, 2022, but I think the go forward solution that I'm talking about, we would still incorporate these dice. So this is not like a one-time dice use situation that would then be obsolete. I think this is a more elegant. I mean, it's a more expensive solution than just that wooden little token, but these are freaking cool, and I'm excited for them, and I hope you guys are too. And if you know what, you don't need them. You 100% do not need these. If you want to just grab random D6s that you have around your house and use those instead, be my guest. Like, if that solves the problem, I'm not trying to get you to buy anything. This is because y'all requested, a lot of people requested these specifically. They wanted faction leader strength dice. And then obviously, I'm extra and I wanted them to be special. I wanted them to be unique. We did design them initially just as a generic with the same border around everything. And I was like, this just doesn't feel right. We need to do this, obviously if we can within financial feasibility. And they are. And I think $9 for these is a great price. So these are going to be a $9 add-on. We could have done things a little bit cheaper. We obviously could have done them way more expensive because I've seen like there's metal dice and there's all kinds of weird stuff. But overall, I think they're beautiful. They're cool that they're unique, and I plan on using this design for these to be the counters going forward in whatever the solutions are for the player boards in the future that may or may not have dual layer applications. So yeah. By the time this airs, you should be able to go on to the campaign. Again, just like we did before, you have to kind of go in there. It's unfortunate on Kickstarter, but you manage your pledge. You have to re-choose the same pledge level that you already had, and then you can add this as an add-on. And just double check if you had other add-ons just to make sure everything's in there for your pledge that you want. So, yeah, I'm stoked to be able to add these. I think they're going to look cool. I got a feeling that we'll use them for D6 in other ways just around the house, because I'll probably end up having several sets here at home. And that's just the way we end up doing stuff. But yeah, that is the edition for today. So now you're just back to me. Mike has made its way right in the middle of everything. All right. Two other talking points. I know that when we did the deep dive on the poker playing cards last week, a few of you may have noticed that the Queen of Diamonds was a character that was unfamiliar to the game currently, but that is Manny's interpretation of the White Queen. So I know there was a lot of you guys talking about that, and it's not guaranteed that the White Queen will be one of the expansion factions that we work on in the future, but it's very possible. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yes, that was the White Queen in the deck. And that is Manny's beautiful work. Last point for today I wanted to chat about. I watched the Thinker Themer video this morning where they are going through all of their collection, giving each of it a rating after obviously playing it a lot more, and then talking about whether it stays in their collection or not. In Wonderland's War, initially, obviously, we've got them quoted on the page, and we've got their initial reactions video kind of posted all over the campaign. But this was nice because this is like we've played it a bunch. It's been in our collection a while. Here's our like really final score on the game. I believe Amy gave it an 8.1 and Maggie gave it a 9.0. So, I love seeing people enjoy the game. I love that they think it hits, certain levels for them. Obviously, I don't think no game is perfect subjectively based on individual people's likes. So, I've heard some people say the game lasts too long, and then I've heard other people say it played 3 hours and we didn't even notice how long it went. And so it just really depends on what you are looking for out of a game experience. But what I think is great about these type of reviews is that you know what you like, and then you can go in and watch these reviews and go, cool, that aligns with what I know I like, and what I don't. And that's one of the reasons I love Shut Up and Sit Down, because they do such an even amount of pros and cons, and then ultimately they'll give you kind of their final verdict. But I typically know if their final verdict would line up with mine, right? In general, I'd be like, oh, they didn't like these things in the game, but those things sounded really cool to me, or vice versa. And I think that's what a good review does, right? It's what any good review does. It should lay out pros, cons. You should be able to know and trust that the person who's giving you that review has thoroughly dove into the product, Otherwise, it's just like a first impressions, and then that's like, there's so much stuff that you can discover. I know that I have on games that I thought, I don't know if I like that much. Played it 2 or 3 times, and like, okay, the more I play it, the more I like it. And obviously, that goes in the reverse. Sometimes you play a game, you play it 4 or 5 times, and by the time you play it the 5th time, you're like, I don't know if I need to play that anymore. But is that a bad thing? I don't know. I mean, if I've played a game, let's say on average it takes 90 minutes to play that game 5 times, I've got a lot of hours of enjoyment out of that game, And if I played something a 5th time, I at least enjoyed it enough the previous 4 times to play it a 5th time. If I didn't enjoy it, then I probably wouldn't play it a 2nd or 3rd time, right? So, anyway, now I have really rabbit trailed off of the campaign update, getting into the structure and critiquing of reviews. I think that's the biggest thing, is that I would just ask. I know when I see it, I'm like, whether it's one of my games or a different game, how many times did you get that played before we either praised that it was the best game ever, or it's the worst game you've ever played? And if it's only once, that's totally fine. You just need to say, this is a first impressions. This is I've only played it, or just say how many times you played it. If you're reviewing anything, hey, I've played this 3 times, and this is my reaction. Hey, I've played this 26 times. This is my thoughts. I've played this. I only got half a game in because it got late and we boxed it up. But here's my thoughts of what I played in the first. I think as long as people know how much you've actually dove into the content, I think it's totally relevant. And I wish that was more like a known quantity for any reviewer out there. How many times have you played the game? And at what player counts? Just curious. Did you only play it at 2 player, but everybody thinks it's the best at 4, so you never played it in its best? Or again, vice versa. It's just, I mean, it's like context for anything that we want. I really have rabbit trail today. I should stop. This is a campaign update, not a James talks about reviews. And I've chatted with Board Game Co about this a little bit. Because it comes up every few months on social media about reviewers and what's the proper structure and stuff like that. How did I even? Oh yeah, because Thinker Thing. I was like, how did I even get here? I was mostly here to brag on them because I think they do a great job in general. And then I'm glad, that they've had enough time to really dig into Wonderland's War and give it their final rating. And, if I can make games that for the vast majority of society scores an 8 or higher, that's awesome. Honestly, I think anything on BGG that's 7 or higher is a quality game. 8, I think 8 or higher is going to be like some top tier game. And then if it's 9 or better, it's like chef's kiss, right? And I think if you look at BGG, and again, I'm rabbit trailing, but I don't have a lot to talk about today. But if you look at, you know what? Let's just do it together. Let's look at it together. Gloomhaven. I know y'all heard that game, right? It's number 1 overall. Numero uno. Let me put it over here on the screen. We'll look at this together, team. Where did my screen go? Where did it go? Okay, I got this under control. I can do it. If you look at Gloomhaven, number 1 game overall, number 1 thematic, number 2 strategy. It's an 8.7. You put that on a bell curve. If the number one game all time is an 8.7, that's like what a 10 is. So I think you just bell curve everything else back up. So I don't know. What are the? Let's see. Brass is number 2. Pandemic Legacy. What is it? 8.5, 8.6. So yeah, I mean, it really does bell curve down from there. The average rating for Gloomhaven. You guys can see my ratings on stuff here. I've played Arc Nova once, and I oofed up a rule, so I don't feel like I should rate it yet. But I really enjoyed it. I've never played Twilight Imperium. Jaws of the Lion's awesome. Star Wars Rebellion's one of my favorite games ever. So it's one of the best board gaming experiences of my life was going through Lego Pandemic Legacy Season 1. I still need to play Brass Birmingham. Gaia Project I've never played, but I love whatever it is it's similar to. War of the Rings 2nd Edition, I have played this once or twice. I need to give this a rating. It's obviously really, really good. It's in the same vein as Star Wars Rebellion. Spirit Island, I really enjoyed my play of that. It's a brain burner for me. I don't like Through the Ages, so I'm probably not going to rate it. I mean, it's fine. I need to go back and play that again. Great Western Trail, really like that. I haven't played the new edition. I've never played Twilight Struggle. Oh, Dune Imperium. I've played this 3 or 4 times. I probably need to give that a rating. Scythe, Castles of Burgundy's awesome. I bought the new, totally jazzed out edition. Seven Wonders Duel's fantastic. Nemesis, one of my favorite game experiences, period. Concordia's amazing. Feast for Odin, I played a bunch. I need to rate that. Terra Mystica, there's where my brain was at earlier. Love Terra Mystica. We've played almost all the expansion. I've played a bunch of Wingspan. A lot of stuff I need to go back and give some links, some rankings to. But anyway, you guys, there you go. I tend to agree with the top games. They're either 9s or 10s for me. I'm not a huge Terraforming Mars fan, so. But even if I'm not a huge fan of something, but I can still see what it deserves to be there. It's an 8 for me at least. Anyway. I really did Rabbit Trail today. Last thing to kind of mention, I guess, is the rest of the week that we are looking at. Wednesday will be obviously the 48-hour mark left on the campaign. So you may or may not see a bigger announcement released that day. I don't think we've got anything super major. Tomorrow will be a more normal day. I'll be answering questions and digging into the comments and seeing what people have questions about, that sort of thing. I'm still working on shipping stuff. I'm sorry, I can't get answers faster. I'm putting a lot of pressure on the people that I've signed up with already to use their service. And I'm still investigating other services. The problem is it's just got a lot of pieces to it. And if I change services, it changes a lot. It's a lot of work. And so, and not just work, there's a lot of chance for mistake, and that makes me liable, and that's scary. So, I'm not giving up on it because I know, let's just go with me for a second. I'm able to get the Canadian shipping cut in half on costs. Let's say that happens. That's going to be updated when I launch the Pledge Manager. At any time that gets confirmed, I can announce that through an update or a video or both, and then people can add on whatever they want to add on. If you want to back at those levels, or back at $1 and then just see if that ever changes, do it. And then if it doesn't, then you don't ever have to add anything on. You're only throwing in $1, like you're not even missing anything. I wish this was easy. If it was easy, I'd sell more games. I know you guys want it. I want you to have it. It's just, I can't pay for that shipping to you. I just can't. And the people that I use say it's going to cost $25 to send this expansion to Canada. That's what it's going to cost because they have imports and duties and all this stuff. And there's minimums. It doesn't matter that it's small. It doesn't matter that it doesn't weigh a lot. That's what it costs to ship this thing on average across Canada. And so it just makes it tough. And there's a people like, oh, group pledges or send it to retailers, and we're not offering a retailer pledge this time because the math doesn't work. There's certain terms that retailers want, and I couldn't hit those. I couldn't hit them, unless I charged everybody else a higher rate so that retailers could have it. It gets complicated, and I want to do right by the most amount of people that I can, but also just know that if you're Canadian, I don't have anything against you. I wish you didn't have these systems that made these quotes go to what they are. People are in the comments like, well, look at Oathsworn. It's 5 boxes and it only costs this. I don't know what Oathsworn's doing. I don't know how much that they're absorbing themselves or subsidizing. I don't know how much, I don't know any of their numbers. I don't know what they're trying to do, right? But from what I'm told by experts who ship to these places every day, these are the prices. And I'm checking with other experts. So it's not just one expert. So anyway, that's it. I still made it a 20-minute video. So thanks, y'all. Talk to you tomorrow. See you in the comments.